Ever been around someone, and within just a few seconds, you felt an odd sense that something wasn't quite right? Maybe they seemed a little too angry or defensive over something small, or they gave off a vibe that made you uncomfortable. But why? What if, in that split second, you could uncover something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface? Today we're diving into something fascinating, the shadow self. You might have heard of it. It's that hidden part of us, the side we often try to suppress or deny. But what if I told you that, with just 10 seconds of observation, you could spot someone else's shadow? And what's even more intriguing, how their shadow might mirror your own. Stay tuned, because in the next few minutes, we're not just talking about spotting hidden traits. We're going to reveal exactly how to identify them in 10 seconds or less. Ready to dig deep? Why the shadow matters first. Let's get clear on what the shadow is. You may have heard the term shadow self before, but it's more than just a psychological buzzword. Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychologist, introduced the concept. He defined the shadow as the parts of our psyche, traits, desires, and emotions that we repress or deny. These are the things we don't like to acknowledge about ourselves. Perhaps anger, jealousy, or greed. But here's the catch. While we try to suppress these traits in ourselves, they don't just vanish, they sneak out, and they often show up in others, especially when we're triggered. Ever noticed how people who judge others harshly often have similar qualities themselves? Or how someone who's constantly blaming others might be hiding their own guilt? That's the shadow at work. The shadow influences our biases, judgments, and even our reactions to certain situations. And when you understand this, you can begin to spot it in others, and yes, even in yourself. Now let's break down how you can spot someone's shadow in just 10 seconds. It's easier than you think, and it doesn't require a psychology degree, just keen observation. 1. Emotional overreactions. One of the quickest ways to spot someone's shadow is through emotional overreactions. Think about it. When someone gets incredibly angry, defensive, or disgusted over something that seems relatively minor, why does that happen? Well, it's likely that the small thing they're reacting to has triggered a much deeper, unconscious insecurity or shame. For example, imagine someone at work overreacting to a small mistake. Maybe they blow up over a missed deadline. That overreaction might not be about the deadline itself, but rather a deeper fear of inadequacy or failure. Ask yourself, why did their anger seem disproportionate? More often than not, their shadow is driving the response. 2. Projection clues. The next clue to look for is projection. Projection happens when someone accuses others of the very things they are guilty of themselves. Ever heard someone say, "Everyone does this," or "You're just like X"? These phrases are major indicators of projection. The person is often projecting their own hidden traits onto others. When you hear this, it's a red flag. What are they hiding within themselves? By recognizing projection, you're peering straight into their shadow. 3. Observing fixations. Next, let's look at what someone is fixated on, what they constantly criticize or admire in others. This is often a clear mirror of their shadow. If someone is always criticizing others for being too selfish, or always admiring someone else's ambition, it could be because they're either rejecting or longing for those same traits in themselves. Their shadow is speaking loud and clear, and it's often disguised as judgment. 4. Body language tells. Finally, don't underestimate body language. Micro expressions, subtle shifts in tone, or even avoidant gestures can give away someone's shadow. Watch for moments when someone gets uncomfortable or avoids eye contact when a certain topic arises. These subtle cues are often linked to unconscious fears or desires they don't want to face. Their body is telling you what their words won't. Case study role play. Let's put this all into action. Imagine you're at work, and you have a co-worker who's always quick to call others lazies, but tends to overwork themselves. Their actions don't quite match their words. The more you observe, the clearer it becomes. You notice a few things. First, the overreaction to others' laziness is a projection of their own fear of being seen as unproductive. Second, when they accuse others, they avoid eye contact, perhaps because they feel guilty about their own workaholic tendencies. And third, they've often made harsh judgments about colleagues who take breaks or leave on time, because deep down, they long for balance but feel ashamed to admit it. By recognizing these 10-second clues, you're able to see their shadow in action, and now you know how to respond. You don't need to confront them directly. Simply understanding what's at play gives you insight into their behavior. Now that you know how to spot someone's shadow, I challenge you to take a moment and reflect on your own. What traits do you judge most in others? Could it be your shadow, trying to hide itself in plain sight? Remember, the shadow isn't just about spotting flaws in others, it's about understanding ourselves better. The next time you react strongly to something or judge others, ask yourself, what part of my shadow is showing up right now? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. What traits have you spotted in others, and could they be your shadow? If you're intrigued by this, dive deeper into Carl Jung's theories, and don't forget to subscribe for more psychological insights. Until next time, keep digging deeper.